All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks to everyone who has joined us. This evening, we're going to have a talk with Detroit Justice Center's community legal advocate and workers, Sonja K. Bonnett, as well as Lauren Thomas, regarding property tax assessment because the season is here. I have some common questions that people tend to wonder about, and they'll be answering them and giving answers as well as information regarding those questions. First, I'll let them get settled. All right, now we have Sonja. And if you two would like to just give a brief introduction about yourselves, and then we'll jump right into it.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Sonja Bonnett. I'm a community legal advocate here at the Detroit Justice Center. And we are dedicated to stopping overassessment in the city of Detroit, which is rampant. We've been doing this for 3 years. This is a third year. We did 2 years successfully, and we look forward to doing this year successfully as well.
Hi, I am Lauren Thomas, another community legal advocate at the Detroit Justice Center. And yeah, like Sonja said, this is an issue close to our hearts. And then just as Detroiters, especially, we want to do everything we can to make sure that Detroiters remain homeowners. And we'll get into some of the sticks of what we mean about that exactly.
All right, so the first question is, what exactly is property tax assessment?
And I'll take that one because I wanted to get some kind of technical terms so that we have it exactly right for people. So every year, the city gives your home a value that is based on the reasonable market value of your home. And they get that value by looking at local real estate, the local real estate market. So let's say they look at the last 100 houses that have sold in your area, and they look at how much they've sold them for, that they've sold for. And then they base your property value off of that. There's no real strategic method to this except for, that they base it off of what the homes have sold for. It's very unorthodox in my opinion. And Detroit is very unique because we have a very different housing market here. With the auctions and the land banks and things of that nature, it makes assessing your home more difficult than it does in other states and cities. So every year, around the beginning of February, sometimes the end of January, depending on how the city is moving, you get an assessment in the mail. It looks like a bill, but it's yellow. And there's a lot of words on there, of course, but in boxes, it's telling you how much the city says your house is assessed for this year. So you look at that value, right? And so when you get that paper in the mail and you're looking at that paper, and that paper says some big number, let's say $30,000 their house is worth. But you look around your house and the structure of your house is damaged and your roof is caving in. And next door, there's a vacant lot. And 2 doors down, there's a crack house. And across the street is 3 abandoned houses and 3 more lots. And you think to yourself, how can my house be worth $30,000 with all of this going on? So the first part, the structural damage, the city can't see that. They literally assess your house by what it looks like. Somebody driving by and taking a picture. So you have to make the city aware of that. Is it fair that you have to do the work for the city and saying, hey, my house is not worth this amount? No, but this is the legal process and this is what we're dedicated to. So you take a look inside your house, you say all this stuff is going wrong. I got all this mess around my house, these vacant lots, these tore down houses, the school system where your taxes go is garbage. there's no way I should be having to be pay taxes on this amount. And then from that, you start an appeal process, which we'll get into. But in a short stack, that's what your assessment is. It's the city taking a look at the market value of your neighborhood and saying your house is worth this much. Lauren, anything to add to that?
You would think after almost a year of us doing Zoom, right, that I would be able to mute and unmute a little bit with a little bit less effort. But we also like to make it clear that an assessment is not an appraisal. The city is not appraising your house. This is not about if you are going to sell your house later and you don't want that value to go down. This is your assessment is what your house is worth to the city, to the tax roll. So it is a bit different from an appraisal, because sometimes there are alarms about that, like, hey, don't tell me my house isn't worth da 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 da, I'm about to sell it next year. No, if you have your your finished basement and upgraded kitchen and all of that, the city, that won't matter. That's not what we're talking about. That's a different real estate thing than what we're dealing with right now.
All right. So how would I know if my property taxes are overassessed?
So like Sonja really got into some of that. A lot of it really is just looking around. It's looking at your home, it's looking at your neighborhood, and it is looking at those recent sales. Now, what the city is going to look at in recent sales are going to be your more real estate based recent sales instead of the auction sales, not the land bank sales. They're not looking at those, even though we Detroiters know that that's how a lot of properties are bought in the city of Detroit. So if you know those things, if you know that you've got certain damages in your home, foundation things, the city, like Sonja said, the city's not going to know if your foundation is crumbling. They aren't going to know about how tree roots have damaged your plumbing. So keep all of those things in mind, because those are going to be repairs that are needed. So it's like paying twice, paying the taxes for these things that also still need to be repaired, right? In addition to looking at your neighborhood, looking at your block, the blocks around you. We have a beautiful city. Our city has a lot of blight as well. We do still have a lot of abandoned structures. We do still have a lot of abandoned lots. And we should not be taxed for those, how can I say, like where those aren't being taxed, we shouldn't have to make up for those taxes. So, but yeah, it really is just a matter of looking at the number on that yellow paper and then looking around and really seeing like if you feel like it matches up or not.
And I'll just add, I want to make sure that residents understand. So Michigan is unique in another way. We have a constitution, a state constitution. So in our state constitution, it says that the city cannot assess your home at more than 50% market value, right? So if your home is worth $30,000, then the city is allowed to assess your home at $15,000. And one great thing that has happened over the course of a few years is the Coalition for Property Tax Justice was created, right? And so Professor Bernadette Atuahene did these multiple studies that showed that the city of Detroit was overassessing its lowest income valued homeowners at 55 to 85% more than what the homes were worth, right? So it's not just like, oh, well, the city of Detroit is overassessing everybody. Everybody might be overassessed, but the people that are getting hit the hardest are the people that can't afford to be overassessed, right? So those of us living in homes where we're barely making it, we have food insecurities, we have financial insecurities, then they hit us with these taxes we don't owe. They hit us with these taxes we don't owe, and our neighborhood is tore up. And our schools don't have work and drinking fountains when school was in, or toilet paper and things of that nature. And you think to yourself, how am I supposed to pay taxes on a $30,000 house that's not worth $30,000? My neighborhood is tore up. Why is this happening to me? It's happening structurally. There are people in the assessor's office in the city of Detroit who I truly believe want to help rectify the situation. But the truth of the matter is, it's happening right now, and it's happening to the poorest of us. And if we can't help to correct those things, who are we really? You can't stand up and pump your fist about Black Lives Matter and not care about Black homes, because this is an 84% Black city. We're just going to be honest. This is a Black Homes Matter situation. So I wanted to make it clear to residents that what's happening to you is not just, well, a little overassessment. It's illegal. And because Michigan has its own constitution, it's unconstitutional.
So if I do feel that I've been overassessed, can I or how do I appeal my property taxes?
Okay, I can go first.
Okay.
Again. So really the initial appeal process is actually quite simple. You literally just have to either write an email or a letter and say, I got my assessment, I think it's wrong. You can word it more eloquently than that. But as long as you are protesting, as long as you send a letter to the office of the assessor at the city, it can be found on the city's website. As long as you get that in by February 22nd, this year, the deadline for appeals is February 22nd. As long as you get that letter, that note into that office by then, you have appealed, right? So there's steps to the appeal. You can provide evidence at that level. You don't have to, but you can. You can say all of the things that we mentioned. You can say, like, the house next door from me just sold for $500. My porch is crumbling. The house across the street from me there's all these abandoned homes across the street from me. You can add in all of those things at that level. Again, you don't have to, because there's a next step as well. So if once you send that appeal into the office of the assessor, they'll read it, they'll look at it, they'll look at your address. They've got a big old map. They got Google Maps and virtual maps and all of that. And they will kind of do another look over and either agree or disagree. Like, you know what? I think we did overassess this home. We'll lower it to this amount. Or they might say, we got that one right. We aren't lowering anything. At that step, you might still say, no, y'all got it wrong. In which case you can then move to the March Board of Review, which is an actual board of people. There you will definitely want to need to have actual evidence. The same evidence we just talked about that you don't need at that first step. At this step, you really, really do need to have that evidence. You can have pictures of your basement that has been damaged by plumbing and by foundation stuff. You know, you can take in all of those pictures at that level. And again, the recent sales that you know of and pictures of your neighborhood, all of those things at that level. And Sonja, if you want to kind of go into that a bit more.
So most importantly, the first step of the process, the appeal process, the written appeal process, just like Lauren said, you email the city, say, hey, this is not right. Doesn't have to be some long thing. It can be just that. They're going to, just like Lauren said, take another look at your property and decide. They will send you a letter or an email letting you know what they decided. If you're satisfied with that, great, all set for this year. If not, then you move on to the March Board of Review, where you get to present your evidence. Pictures are so important. You need to take pictures of everything. Pictures of the abandoned house, pictures of your structural damage, pictures of everything. Getting comparable sales is a little bit more difficult. You do have to reach out to a real estate agent for that, but you can get them. And those were and because the city has their own comparable sales, they have real estate agents that are going to bring those to the table. So you having your own is very important. But most importantly would be the pictures. In my opinion, they make the most impact. And you being there to say, hey, I'm a lifelong Detroiter. I've paid my taxes. I've been here since the city was crumbling when it came up. Now that it's coming up again, I deserve to have my taxes lowered. You being in their face matters the most. However, if you feel this process is a bit complicated, you still don't quite get it, there are people here to help you, us being one of them. So we're going to give you a bunch of phone numbers and emails where you can reach out to us before this is over. And we'll also put it in the comments so that you can reach out to us. And what we do is we step in as a third-party advocate. So we'll take your address, we'll look up comparable sales to your property, we'll compare them, we'll let you know before even going a step further and say, hey, we don't see that your home is overassessed. Or we'll let you know we're going forward. So then we send a written appeal to the city in the first phase of the appeal process and hope that something gets done then. Sometimes it does. And if not, we take pictures, we get pictures of your home, we get the comparable sales. We take you if possible. This year it will be virtual, but you can be right there, whether it's on the phone or on the computer with us. And then we go in front of the board of review, who have proven to us in the past 2 years that they are willing to take that second look and listen to the resident and do what's right. They have not proven us wrong on that. They have done the right thing so far. So most important that you get out of this, how do I appeal my property taxes, that you can do it yourself. But if you feel the process is too complicated, you can reach out to us and we can walk you through it. Not only show you how to do it yourself maybe next year, but walk you through it and stand by your side as it gets done and get your property taxes lower to what's feasible for you this year. So again, just to put that in a big ball, you can do your own property tax appeal. It's a little difficult, but not that difficult. If not, we are here to help you. And even if you're watching this and you think it doesn't affect you, hey, we came across so many people that said, I'll pay my taxes, I'm not worried about it. It may be affecting your neighbor. It may be affecting an elderly family member. It may be affecting somebody you know. So even if you don't think it applies to you, and even if you pay your taxes every year, take a second look because you never know.
And just to really piggyback on that, when we talk about this issue of property tax justice, when we talk about the overassessment issue that has been proven to plague this city over the years, there's a few different pockets of that, right? There are people who lost their homes illegally because they did not pay taxes. There's another group of people, a large group of people who paid too much in taxes, and that was a decision that they had to make. Like, well, I don't want to lose my home. So they're looking at those numbers. Well, I guess I'm going to skip this prescription, or I guess I'm going to skip this food, or, these are choices that poor people are having to make. And everybody did not pay their taxes during this issue as they were being overtaxed. We're still talking about people who paid their taxes and who, should not have been overcharged. So one of the things that we are really, really about is advocating for that empowerment, learning. We found a lot of people last year, we helped a lot of people last year who found that they were not overassessed, but just that confirmation, just that surety of knowing, phew, thank goodness that I haven't been paying too much. That in of itself is a comfort. So even just again, like Sonja said, reaching out to us we can help you walk through it and learn yourself and really learning what these numbers are about. Because as we know, knowledge is power. So the more people that know about the issue and know that you can appeal the issue and then really finding out what these numbers mean, it's powerful. That's a movement. That's a movement in itself. And that's what we're trying to continue here. Again, with Black homes mattering along with Black lives and keeping Black home ownership in this Black city.
I'm putting the phone number in, I'm putting the phone number in the comments now, our phone number. and our our email address. We will voice it through before we're done, but I just wanted to put it in. I didn't want y'all to think I wasn't paying attention.
Thank you, Sonja. And so while we know that we have you all as advocates here at the DJC, another common question that some people wonder is whether or not they need an attorney.
So I think we touched on that a bit. You do not need an attorney. A lot of what our job as community legal advocates, not just with this issue, but with any issue that we might touch on, is for those things that you might need assistance with, legal things, but you don't necessarily need a lawyer. So we work with lawyers, amazing lawyers at the Detroit Justice Center who are there with us and for us and our clients every step of the way. But no, you do not need an actual lawyer to represent you at this part of the process.
I do want to add that you want someone legally informed, however. So the job of a community legal advocate is for us to help people navigate through legal situations. And like it or not, this is the legal process for overassessment. The legal process is to appeal. And so while you don't need a lawyer, you do want somebody with some legal knowledge about the situation. If you're going to have a third party advocate, make sure they know what they're talking about before you sit down in front of that board.
Can I get my money back if I've been overcharged on this year or on a previous year's taxes?
So we've ran into maybe 2 people in this whole entire city in 2 years of doing the appeal process who got money back for the current year overassessment. 2 people. And we've helped hundreds of clients. So it's possible. With saying that, I want to keep your expectations extremely low. The chance of you getting your money back from the city that took it from you are extremely low. And if you do get it back, that's a whole lot of writing and bugging them. But if you're up for it, give it a shot. You can't get money back for previous years. We can't even appeal for previous years. The legal structure for this is current year, and you don't get no money back. For again, if you want to try to muscle through and write them and call them and bug them and go down there, you might get your money back, but chances are very slim, and it won't happen for any previous years.
And just in terms of like in previous years, and it's because there's no law for it. There's no precedent for it. Michigan does not say that if a city or municipality overcharges you for your property taxes, they have to give it back. There's no, so for that, what do? We go to our legislators, go to your state rep, go to your state senator and say, do you know that y'all don't have no law saying that this city can't just take and keep my money? So because those that does not exist as a law, again, I love my city, I really do. But they're not gonna just give us money back because they took too much money from us. It's just not a thing that is going to happen because they don't have to do it. So again, to get changes like that made, we have to go through legislation, which is a longer step. That's a different step from what we're talking about, but that's just something else to keep in mind. You know, when next time you're at coffee, when the world opens up freely and you see your state rep or somebody's knocking on your door asking for a vote, hello, you can say, hey, what about this thing that y'all don't, you know, give me my money back. So.
And I want to add to that we got to start voting for our interests. We consistently in this city vote for people that do not care about the underprivileged, the financially insecure, the food insecure. Mike Duggan did a response to Black Homes Matter, where his response to what about the people who were overassessed and lost their money, his response was, well, that money got spent. It went into the schools. Well, we don't want the old money, Mike. We want new money. For those of us, I lost my home due to overassessment. For those of us that went through that, we don't want the old money y'all spent. We want the new money y'all making. So start voting for people who actually have your interest at heart. He is not one of them.
That's very important. Also, is this something that I have to do every single year?
Yes, you do. And I'm saying that and yes and no, but yes, if you feel every year that you've been over assessed, then yes, every year you need to you can appeal. You have the right to appeal every single year. Um, that doesn't mean that you have to. You might get that yellow form in the mail next year and say, hey, this looks about right. Um, in which case I probably would not recommend writing a letter to the city in that regard. But yes, any year that you feel that you have been overassessed, when you look at those numbers and again you look around you, you have the right to do it. There's no blanket correction. Um, and I say that kind of tentatively because there are some corrections that are standing, but for the most part, yes, you can appeal every year.
I want to add that, the Coalition for Property Tax Justice has been pushing for, overall to stop assessment, to cut it, period. And I want to make clear that we're majority talking. Now, if you're overassessed, we want you to appeal regardless if you make $12,000 a year or $120,000 a year. However, people that are being obsessed, obsessed the most aggressively are the lowest income valued homeowners. So these are the people we're trying to help. We're not saying that we won't help you. We're not going to turn anybody down. But if you have the means to do it for yourself, then we'll show you how. The lowest income valued homeowners is who we're talking to. And absolutely, we would do it every year for you if they continue to overassess you.
All right. Besides coming to you guys for assistance and for information, where can people find out information about appealing property taxes?
So there are a couple of places to find out. One of them, of course, is the city website, which is Detroit Property Tax dot something. The most important place to find out about what's really going on is illegalforeclosures.org. That is going to be your information hub. That is the website for the Coalition for Property Tax Justice. This is where you're going to find out about what's really been happening since 2009, which is where her study goes back to. You can also go on to our website, which is the DetroitJusticeCenter.org. You'll find out about the community legal advocates there and find out how to reach us. And of course, we'll talk to you on the phone and walk you through what's been going on. You can also, there's other places you can, to find out organizations in your neighborhood that may be able to help you more closely to where you are. You can text 85274 or call 211, and they may be able to direct you to a nonprofit organization that can walk you through some of the things that have to do with property tax overassessment. But again, the place where you're going to get the most information is illegalforeclosures.org.
So, what is PTE?
So PTE has been renamed to HPTAP, and I should know what that stands for, but I have PTE stuck in my brain, which stands for Poverty Tax Exemption. So the Poverty Tax Exemption is an exemption you can get for your property taxes based on income, or based on your disability, or based on the fact that you're a veteran. This is a program that the city has had for God knows how long, that they just don't frequently advertise. Until the Professor Atuahene created the coalition and got some momentum going, I had never heard of it. And we talked to many residents who had never heard of it because it was not something that the city advertised. Now you may hear a little bit on it when Duggan goes on the news or what have you, because there's an uproar. But basically, this is a program that if you make under the federal poverty line, and that line is closer to us than you think, it's household size plus the income you're bringing in. So if you make under the federal poverty line, there's a chance that you may not owe property taxes on your home at all because you're under the federal poverty line. And somewhere somebody had some common sense to say, okay, these people don't make enough money to feed their family, keep the lights on, and pay these outrageous taxes. If you're a veteran, you automatically qualify. If you're disabled on net fixed income, you automatically qualify. So this is a beautiful program. It's just not wide known. And I do believe that program is exhausted for this year, but there's nothing wrong with getting your application and everything filled out for next year, because they will look back 3 years. They'll look back 3 years to see if they can change some things for you. Again, no promises. Go expect miracles from the city. The one positive thing is, like I said, there are some people in the assessor's office that really do want to help change things. So your chances are better than they used to be. I have a couple websites that you can go to for that information. The biggest one, again, you can go to illegalforeclosures.org and get information for PTE or HP TAP as well. You can go to uchcdetroit.org and also bridgingcommunities.org. You can also, again, text 85274 for information about the PTE, or call 211, and they'll be able to direct you to an org in your area where you can get information. This is a great program that more residents need to know about. We came across so many senior citizens, and that's another thing, age. If you're, I think if you're, am I right, Lauren, over 65, that's a qualification as well?
It's a qualification, and then I think it goes to like a sliding scale.
Yeah.
Aged up, right? Yeah.
Right. So we came across so many veterans, disabled people, senior citizens that had all this overassessment when they did not owe the taxes to begin with because they qualified for PTE. I myself, when I lost my home, didn't owe the taxes because I was under the federal poverty line. But so many people do not know about this program that we're losing homes in droves, and we don't have to be. Black homes in droves.
All right. Both Sonja and Lauren, you guys have both shared a lot of really good information and things that I'm sure are helpful for some folks. Is there anything else that you all would like to add or share, or just any other tips for people that may be helpful?
One thing I would like to say, just in terms of like the Detroit Justice Center and what we do and our missions and things like that, we've got a three-pronged mission, right? It's defense, offense, and dreaming. It should not have to be this far off dream that not only we have so many beautiful Black homeowners in this city, but that they can keep their homes without being overcharged for property taxes. That should not be a pie in the sky dream. That should be a reality that we are all responsible for and that we are all working towards with each other. So just another kind of thing to keep in perspective as we all want to make the world a better place and live in a better place with each other. This might be one glip on the radar of a lot of different injustices, but home ownership for people in this city has been life-changing. It has been generational changing. Like it has changed how families have been raised, right? How families have been created in this city. We should not take that lightly, and we shouldn't take it for granted. And the way that we prove that we don't is by being there for our neighbors, being there for you know, just for our relatives and other people who might not know. I know lots of people who live in the suburbs who I cannot help you with your property taxes in the suburbs. But if you still know somebody in this city, put a little birdie in their ear about us, about DJC, and just about the fact that they can appeal their property taxes. And then, you know, people can also reach out to us as advocating for others as well. So it's we're trying to make the world a better place before I get to rambling and preaching. But Sonja already knows. So go ahead.
So I'm just gonna add again, our phone number is 313-752-1314. Reach out to us. You have that yellow piece of paper. If you don't have it, it's coming. If you look at that piece of paper and you think this ain't right, call us, or you can reach us at cla@detroitjustice.org. Reach out. We are doing this for free. This is simply to keep homeowners in their homes, more specifically Black homeowners in their homes, because land ownership is so important to us. Land ownership is so important. You've got to put your stock in there. You've got to really fight to keep your property. Gentrification is a thing. We know that. But this is one of the last chocolate cities, and we cannot make it so very easy for them to take it. We're not going to. That is why we do what we do. That is why we want you to do what we're asking you to do. That's why we want you to go to the websites. We want you to go to the coalition website. We want you to go to our website. We want you to call us. We want you to tell your neighbor. We want you to tell the people at work. Tell somebody who's going to tell somebody, so that we can get this problem fixed. It's not going to happen in a day. We're going to do this every year until they get it right. And I want my money back too for the home I lost. We can't get your money back, but we can start by fixing overassessment current year, and we can go at them every year. But you've got to start paying attention to what's going on in your city. That's what we're asking you to do. Again, tell somebody who's going to tell somebody. The website is cla@detroitjustice.org. That's how you reach us. 313-752-1314. That's how you reach us. The other websites are in the comments. And Black Homes Matter, Black Lives Matter. Check out the Detroit Justice Center. It's not just housing. We do some amazing things. We're ran by a beautiful group of brilliant Black women who are doing some monumental things in this city. So at the very least, check out the website for that. And we thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And I also see your comment, Regina Sharma, in the comments. So you are definitely welcome. Thank you for that compliment. And thanks to everyone else who has tuned in. And again, all of the information that both Sonja and Lauren dropped regarding websites and telephone numbers, they are in the bottom of the comments. And stay tuned.
Share this live. Share it, share it, share it, share it, share it widely.
Yes, share it live and tell a friend. And again, thanks for watching.